Welcome, and we are here for our first lesson in G Suite. So for Automated Office, we'll get you going, get you your account, and then we're going to be beginning our first activity, which will be using Google Slides. So in terms of steps, we want to go into Google. So you can look for google.ca, google.com, and you'll notice that in the top corner, there's a sign in button. So normally, once you've signed in on and you continue to use the same computer, you won't have to continuously sign in. But for today, we're going to sign in. I happen to have my account in the list. For your account, it's going to be your first name dot last name at connect.sevenoaks.org. So again, first name dot last name at connect.sevenoaks.org. And then your password is going to be your student number, but with a 00 in front. So 00974 something. If you don't know your student number, then you have to get in contact with Shelby, and she'll let you know that that student number. So we want to log into our Connect account through Google, and you'll notice that I have an icon here that's showing me, that I am logged in now with my account. Probably you will just have like letters for your name or something there. Our next step then, in terms of like how do we start things off, is to go to the waffle icon. So these little dots here, they call that the waffle. So we go to the waffle, and that's a bit of a menu. And you have access to all these features here through your Connect account. Not only that, but also if you happen to create a Gmail account, you will also have access to these features. So the things that we're doing here, you can continue to do after you're a student at Sevenoaks Adult Learning Center. So you'll always have access to docs, sheets, slides. These are the main pieces that we're going to be using here. We're also going to use our Gmail account, use the Drive, that's our cloud storage. And it's not in this list here, but there's also drawings. So Google Drawings is also one that's a good one to do. So so for today, for our beginning pieces, we're going to start our unit on presentations. So the presentation software in the G Suite is Slides. So we can open Slides. For yourself, you're going to end up starting a new presentation. I have already begun a presentation, which I guess you could open here from Slides, but I'm going to open it from my Drive. So I go back to the waffle and go to Drive, and I'm just going to open it directly from there. So I have my files down here, and I have a slideshow called 5 Favorite Movies. Just clear this up. So let's take a look at this presentation. So a presentation is meant to convey information. It could support an oral presentation. So it should just, have points of information, or it could stand alone. So it could be a kiosk presentation where there isn't somebody speaking over top of it, and it has to contain all the information. In this case here, we're just going to be creating like a visually appealing document that's sharing information about our 5 favorite movies, primarily with me, because I want to see what's out there and see what you guys like, and maybe get some new movies that we can watch. So if we want to watch a show, we'll go to present. So we're going to start the presentation. And when we want to advance each slide, so here we're looking at our title slide. When we want to advance the slide, we just click with the mouse. So left mouse click, and that brings up a new slide. You'll notice that there was a fade there. That fade is called transition. So each of the slides can either abruptly change from one to another, or they can have some sort of preset transition. So here we see our title, we see our text, and I've actually colored the background of this text box so that, just so it doesn't blend into this white background. And then we see our image. When we're ready, then we can click to go to our next slide. You'll see there's also a second fade transition. I've changed the layout between the slides, and one of the reasons I chose to change the layout is because oftentimes a viewer will get totally bored if the pictures are always in the same place, the text is always in the same place. There's certainly a place for consistency, but there's also definitely a place for a little bit of a change just to kind of wake up your viewer so that they don't get complacent as they're watching your show. So yeah, just kind of changing the placement of the images, the text box just can add a little bit of vibrancy to your show. So we click to move forward. We see a different kind of transition here. And we see this is my third movie. I've left some space now for us to continue this file. And what I want to do is cite my sources, because I clearly did not create this picture, Groundhog Day picture. I got it from somewhere. And so I have here links to the actual sources of those images. And so that, would allow somebody to know where that image came from. This, I've just clicked, and now this we're looking at is our black screen. So this is really important as a presenter to know like that your show is done. Normally, if you click, it'll just pop right out of whatever the presentation software is. If you're using PowerPoint, it'll go back to Windows. If it's, inside here, it goes back to the editor. And it just looks really unprofessional. So as a presenter, if your last slide is a black slide, then not to click anymore. So it's a little bit of a safety net for yourself, just so you're not all of a sudden showing your backdrop with your dog or something on it by accident to your boardroom meeting. So let's click, and now we will sort of get out of there. So we can exit to get out. Another way to get out of a presentation, if you're in the middle of watching something and you want to get out, is to press the escape key. So let's go into the slides and look at how we can actually create these slides. One thing I want to show you is about the menu bars. So we have here we have like all of our different functions. These are sort of drop down menus, and then these guys are sort of shortcuts to pieces that are contained within our menus. But this over here, this hides your menu bar, which can be quite confusing if you're looking for your menu bar and now you can't find it. So just look on the far right side. Sometimes, depending on your monitor, you might need to adjust your monitor so that you can see that little shortcut that sort of hides and then unhides. So I have here also, you can see my order. If I ever wanted to change the order of my slides, I just drag and drop them to change the actual order. So now I'm going to insert a slide. So I go to slide. This is going to be our main menu that we're going to work with. And then we're going to hit new slide. So for this slide, I've already selected my theme. But you can always pick a different theme. So let's say I want to just check out how that looks. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Nice black slide with some fancy things here. Notice it's changed the theme for the whole show. And that, again, adds a little bit of consistency. It doesn't look bad with my my colored text back here. And it also adjusts the font directly. So each one of these themes sort of has its own flavor, you know, and then of course you might have to readjust it. I like the font on this one, but that doesn't seem to work too well. So you can choose your theme. Again, the theme is found from here or from inside slide. There's also ways to change theme. But let's go back into our new slide. We can also change the layout of the slide. So here I have 2 columns. Perhaps you want just only one text box. And oh, what movie am I going to put in? I'm going to put in Star Wars. So I'm a big Mandalorian fan right now, so I'm pretty jammed about Star Wars. I've used the left align title twice, so maybe I'm going to center. So there's an alignment button here, which you have to pull down in order to see more of the features. And okay, let's center this title. So this kind of changes it up in terms of the layout. I'm going to want to insert a picture. And I'll just show you, if you go to insert image, search the web, you will get some images, but all of these are ones that are licensed. So something like Star Wars may not, oh, there are some that we have the ability to use. So these are ones that like you can technically use them without, they've been given permission to use them. If you open another tab on your browser and you go back to Google, so we can type in Star Wars and we'll conduct an image search. So this is within Google doing an image search. Then we can see a variety such as those movie posters. So let's say we like this poster, we can copy it, right click on the image and copy that image. And then we go back to our tab that has our slides on it. And let's paste that image. So we see the image is quite large. In fact, it's kind of going over top of the border on our theme. So let's resize the image. You do that by going over one of these handles. The best handle to use is your corner handles. You want to click and drag that down. So we're resizing it. Not too small, but let's just kind of make it so we could get a lot of our image in there. And just click and drag to move it with the 4 arrow. That moves it on the page, but without sizing it. If you use one of the side handles or even the top one, here you're going to make your image kind of short and fat. If anything happens on your show that you don't like as you're editing, just come here to the undo button. So we'll undo that. And maybe I'll start to write some text. So now here you can either use a tagline for your movie or just have like a description of the plot. So here I've made a small little recap of the movie. And this text I would like to make bigger because it's quite small, you know, considering the size of the slide. So you do that by clicking and dragging, highlighting. And up here we see the name of the font. The font right now is coming with your theme, but feel free to grab another font if you want. Don't get things crazy though. It should be somewhat consistent throughout the show, but we do want to make that size a little bigger. So let's see, something like that. You know, maybe we can, there we go. That looks nice. I choose to color my text box, mostly because everything else is white and I just feel like this is kind of boring. So I'm going to go to this guy here. We see it, you can see, I guess, like a drip. This is like a paint can and it's dripping water. So it's, or dripping paint. So it's filling the paint. So let's maybe kind of match up. That's nice. And again, this as a text box with the 4 arrow, we could drag and drop that anywhere that we want on the slide. What we do want to do is cite this source. So I'm going to go back to the Google search, which is in a different tab. And what I want to do is I'm going to go to the actual page where this image exists. So if I click it, it'll take me to this image source. And I want to come up and copy that link. So up in the address bar, right-click copy, or Control-C is also another shortcut. And we'll go back to our slides. And I'm going to put that in with my image sources. So I'll just go below here. So Control-V for paste. Or you could also go to edit and paste. Either way will work. So now I have my links for all of my images. And so let's make another slide, our last slide. Again, go back up to slide and new slide. I'm going to probably do Back to the Future. So notice the color of my font is this sort of tan or brown color, and that's been chosen because of the theme. So that's the advantage of picking a theme, is it'll give you something nice to sort of start with. I'm going to align this to the right. So everything then would be flush to the right, and I will start, take a look for my Back to the Future image using Google Images. Classic. I don't like this one because it's cut off. And also we do always want to avoid images that have watermarks on them. Those are clearly being said that we're not encouraged to use that. That would be copyright infringement. So, but this guy, let's get him, copy it, and we'll come over here and we can right click paste. You could go and use the menu bar, or you could just use the shortcut. So we want to resize it. So we're coming up to our corner handle, clicking and dragging. And maybe it seems like a lot of my pictures were on the left. So I'm going to include this one on the right. And I'll put some text. Great movie if you haven't seen this. Oh, and so something like this is capital K. It's best in this, our presentations, to check your spelling, check your grammar. Oops. So let's create that nice big text. So these are sort of preset. If you are at 30, obviously this is not the right size. You can type in a size if you want, like 15. You know, and it's a little bit of guessing just to kind of see which one fits the best. So, and I'm going to fill my text box. That's nice. Probably center this on the picture as well. Great, so I have my 5 images. I need to get my link. So this is the link for the image source. So I'm going to copy that and put that in my image sources. Maybe I'll use my second text box. And I want to just also show you how I was able to achieve the black slide. So I just hit delete on my keyboard. I'm going to go to slide and new slide. So when you click new slide, you get the existing layout, you get the existing theme. So you have to go and actually take off there. So you have to take off the layout so that there is no layout, and it's called blank. We're going for a black slide, but the layout is blank, and you'll notice that it doesn't have this kind of border or these like slashy lines. There is no theme to this, so this is like taking off the theme. Once you have the theme taken off, then you can change the background to a black color. So then we'll click done. And that's how you can achieve your black slide at the end, by creating a blank layout. So again, overall, when we have our show, we can go to present and we're able to take a look through. One thing that I'm thinking about at the moment is that we haven't set transitions for our new slides. So it'll be interesting to see how they actually transition now. See how that was a really abrupt transition, and see how, again, it just really quickly moves to the next one. And this transition is occurring because I had already programmed it into the image source slide. So the transition we pick will be the one that will be preceding the slide. So just pressed escape on my keyboard to get out. And let's go back to our slides and make sure that this new slide has the correct animation. So we'll go back up to slide and go to transition. Sorry, animation. Excuse me, was not the correct word. It's called transition. So we'll look for the kind of transition that we want. That's called flip. So the fast is pretty fast. Slow is going to be really slow. You can see it's giving you like a time frame for how long it makes that change. So, maybe something like medium, we don't want it to be, boring, but yeah, that was nice. So, you get a little bit of a preview there as well. So I'll go into my next slide. Go into my next slide and apply a transition there as well. Maybe do the cube. And make sure that our last slide also has a transition. So all of the slides have their transitions. They all have their themes. And we have our image sources. So we have our show. You'll notice that as I was going, this is continuously saving. This is getting saved into your drive. So one thing you will have to do is to rename. So up in this top left corner is where the name comes in. So now I can type here, complete. So I will have a file now in my drive called FiveFavouriteMovies Complete, and I know that that's my end sort of file. For handing in purposes, you want to have your first name, last name, first name and last name, and then the underscore. So not a hyphen, just do an underscore 5 favorite. And so now that's going to be saved in my drive. So let's go to my drive then. I'm just going to close this and we'll go into my drive and just sort of refresh. So I have my file, my FiveFavouriteMovies file here. It's ready to be accessed. And I can share my file, whether it's from the quick access or from my files here. You can share your file with me. This is sort of a really quick way of doing that. All of our classmates and myself are in this list. So if you type Shelby, you'll see a number of other people. These are all like students, maybe at the Adult Learning Center, maybe they go to West K or somewhere else in the division. But you want to look for Shelby.McNish. And if you click that, then you're sharing that file with me. And it's important that I would be like an editor as opposed to a viewer commentator, just because it limits some of the things that I can see and do, especially if I want to know the behind the scenes features. So keep me as an editor. And you can send that, and that would be the same as submitting your file. Down the road, when we start working on some other pieces, we'll work on how to attach it in a Gmail email. But for the time being, you can just share your file with me, and then I'll be able to see that and give you your marks, get them up into Schoology. So that's our first assignment. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And yeah.